Jai Sachi Suta Ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani Ki Jai, Shri Radha-Parisisvara Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Would you like to give a class?
It's not on Friday?
It's either you or me on Friday, but Krishna Kripa was not aware for today. And he has some proofreading to make, so we have to
And you cannot.
He's just giving you the opportunity.
Unfortunately, yeah. Just because I didn't prepare anything, and you are maybe more at ease when it's not prepared than
Okay,
I.
okay. No problem. You can remain in the garden, but just go into the devotee's kitchen, turn off the fire, because I put it the candies to boil.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm afraid then that there is gas, so I'm afraid for it.
So, you do or I do?
I can do, but just turn off the gas.
Me?
Yeah. Otherwise I cannot do simultaneously.
Yeah. Sure. So, please. Most welcome. Verse 35 and 37.
You like to talk about Krishna, that's very auspicious.
Krishna Kripa, thank you.
Transfer the benediction I gave to him to you.
Okay, that's nice. It's like when sometimes we have, we give our general. Sometimes you can go to the lawyer and give your pouvoir, your legal empowerment, let's say, to doing things. Okay, 37 verses today. We said Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and now we're supposed to chant the verse. Okay. Dharmaya yashase arthaya. Do I do it 3 times? Each word? Or I go...
Usually they do each line once, and then you go through the whole thing 3 times. You don't do each line.
Okay. Once, but 3 times the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Kamaya svajanaya cha panchadha vidhajanvitam iha mutra samodate. It's cha, right? Dharmaya yashasirthaya Kamaya svajanaya cha panchadha vibhajanvitam iha mutra chamodate. Dharmaya yashase kaya Kamaya svajanaya cha panchadha vibhajanvitam iha mutra chamodate. Dharmaya yashasirthaya Kamaya svajanaya cha Panchanada vibhajanvitam Ihamutra chamodate.
Dharmaya yashasirthaya.
Kamaya
Yashasirthaya.
Kamaya svajanaya cha.
Kamaya svajanaya cha.
Panchadha vibhajan vitam.
Panchada vibhajan vitam.
Ihamutra chamudate.
Ihamutra chamodate.
Dharmaya yasasirtaya,
Dharmaya yashasirthaya.
kamaya svajanaya cha,
Kamaya svajanaya cha.
panchada vibhajan vitayam,
Panchada vibhajan vitam.
ihamutra chamodate.
Ihamutra chamodate. Dharmaya for religion.
For religion.
Yashase
Yashase.
for one's reputation.
For one's reputation.
Arthaya
Arthaya.
for increasing one's opulence.
For increasing one's opulence.
Kamaya
Kamaya.
for increasing sense gratification.
For increasing sense gratification.
Svajanaya cha
Svajanaya cha.
and for maintaining one's family members.
And for maintaining one's family members.
Panchadha
Panchadha.
for these 5 different objectives.
For these 5 different objectives.
Vibhajan
Vibhajan.
dividing.
Dividing.
Vitam
Vitam.
his accumulated wealth.
His accumulated wealth.
Iha
Iha.
in this world.
In this world.
Amutra
Amutra.
the next world.
The next world.
Cha
Cha.
and
And
modate.
Mudate.
Yeah. Modate
What is it?
he enjoys. Okay.
You read the 35, 6 and so on?
I know because it was also part of it. Okay.
Yeah.
We read just translation or what do we do? Sanskrit translation? or-
Sanskrit and translation is in
Yeah, that's too. That's
one
too.
time Sanskrit and
Nice
Very
from someone.
purifying.
Yeah. Nishtham te narake manye ya pradatu pratishrutam pratishrutasya yonisha pratipadaitum bhavan. Translation: you will certainly be unable to fulfill your promise, and I think that because of this inability, your eternal residence will be in hell. Whoa. Natadanam prasham shanti yenam vriti vipadyate danam yajna tapa karma loke vriti mato yataha. Translation: learned scholars do not praise that charity which endangers one's own. Learned scholars do not praise that charity which endangers one's own livelihood. Charity, sacrifice, austerity, and fruitive activities are possible for one who is competent to earn his livelihood properly. They are not possible for one who cannot maintain himself. Wow. And today is translation. Therefore, one who is in full knowledge should divide his accumulated wealth in 5 parts: for religion, for reputation, for opulence, for sense gratification, and for the maintenance of his family members. Such a person is happy in this world and in the next. Purport of Pacharan Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace. Hare Krishna. The Shastras enjoin that if one has money, one should divide all that he has accumulated into 5 divisions: 1 part for religion, 1 part for reputation, 1 part for opulence, 1 part for sense gratification, and 1 part to maintain the members of his family. At the present, however, because people are bereft of all knowledge, they spend all their money for the satisfaction of their family. Srila Rupa Goswami taught us by his own example by using 50% of his accumulated wealth for Krishna, 25% for his own self, and 25% for the members of his family. One's main purpose should be to advance in Krishna consciousness. This will include dharma, artha, and kama. However, because one's family members expect some profit, one should also satisfy them by giving them a portion of one's accumulated wealth. This is a Shastric injunction. Om Jnanatirandasya Ginanjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Haripriye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, once again, the verse of today. Therefore, an English would be okay. Translation.
Est-ce que vous comprenez l'anglais?
Oui, l'anglais de Brisbane. Je comprends.
Ah,
Le français, donc je suis français, mais j'habite en Australie.
Ah,
l'anglais.
d'accord.
well, we have a lot of Australian
English
devotees.
is no problem.
Oh, great. Hare Krishna. So today we are, in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the already 8th canto, chapter 19 and verse 37. It is the Leela of Bali Maharaj and Vamanadev. And so at this point, Shukracharya is chastising Bali Maharaj because he is about to make a promise. He made a promise to the Vamanadev that he gives him 3 steps of land, of his land, which seemed to be very little amount. But then Shukracharya, being a learned, experienced, let's say, and also mystic, personality, he guessed that that Vamanadev is Vishnu himself, and he is gonna take everything from Bali Maharaj. That the 3 steps will somehow end up being the whole creation, visible, as we recently said, Jananda Maharaj recently said. It was visible because, of course, the creator of the whole universe is Brahma, Lord Brahma, and but Bali Maharaj was ruling upper, lower, and middle planetary systems, and Shukracharya got upset with him giving this promise. He wanted him to retract his promise because that will mean that Bali Maharaj will have 0 after that, 0 possession, and that means that also Shukracharya would not be getting his remuneration. He will not get he will not be able to sustain the Shukracharya as well. So here Shukracharya is bringing certain points to which Bali Maharaj he tries to convince him, and we read 2 verses without purport because there was no, and so we can repeat. You will certainly be unable to fulfill your promise. That's Shukracharya speaking. And I think that because of this inability, your eternal residence will be in hell. Will be in hell. Okay. Learned scholars do not praise that charity which endangers one's own livelihood. So learned scholars do not praise that charity which endangers one's own livelihood. Charity, sacrifice, austerity, fruitive activities are possible for one who is competent to earn his livelihood properly. They are not possible for one who cannot maintain himself. And today's verse was, therefore, one who is in a full knowledge should divide his accumulated wealth in 5 parts: for religion, for reputation, for opulence, for self-gratification, and for maintenance of his family members. Such a person is happy in this world and in the next. And so here Srila Prabhupada gave a purport that he says that the Shastras speak, like here we see it's a Shastra, it speaks that all accumulated, everything that we have should be divided into these parts. So invested in religion, that we can understand by giving a donation, that paying some pilgrimage, just journeys to the holy places. It can also mean that we invest in something that is connected with religious movements, let's say. Then for the opulence, where everybody understands more or less, opulence is, if we have one, it's some kind of possessions like maybe house or jewelry. That's what comes to the mind, but then it can be also more subtle ways, I assume. Then self-gratification, it also varies. It can be more subtle forms, like visiting opera, I don't know, or some theater. It can be more gross forms, like food stuffs, a good way to exist, let's say. Then it also needs one part for the maintenance of the members of the family. now maybe in the West we don't have that big families anymore, or it depends on the country, but like in India, from what I heard, you tell me if it's true, the families are bigger, bigger notion, and even if it's like cousins, they would be your brothers, they would be considered as your brothers, there will be no that big difference, and so in that sense, like if your immediate family, let's say your closest ones, are settled, sometimes also you can help bigger families, like you have sometimes a rich uncle, and I don't know, he can help you being his nephew, for example. But definitely Shastras take care of things. Why? Because also Shastras speak usually about karma, artha, kama and moksha. So they usually speak about the gradual evolution. And in order to have a more or less smooth path, it's good if we take lesson from the Shastras, that we are sure not to be making some kind of impulsive decisions, but rather taking it accordingly, because impulsive decisions sometimes they can bring a sense of regret, and that is not very favorable, because we might be having a heavy heart against with time we develop this heavy heart against the person to whom we gave money, for example, because we have regrets and second thoughts after some time. So it's better to follow these injunctions of Shastras. However, if we know, like in the case of Bali Maharaj, because he's a great devotee of the Lord, of course, a little bit disguised in the beginning, born in the demoniac, let's say, dynasty, he was able to give it all. Now, there are also examples in our movement of those who were given a great, like donation, let's say, Albert Ford, the grandchild of Henry Ford, he had a big, heritage from his grandfather, but he did give to Srila Prabhupada. I do not know if it was full, but really big donation, and after that he dedicated his life, right? Krishna Kripa Prabhu, he has dedicated life to raising also more donation, to building Ambarish Maharaj.
So many donations.
So many donations.
He bought that temple in Detroit, and then so much donations for the big temple of the planetarium.
Okay, thank you. Well, temple in Detroit, he invested in that, and yes.
In Hawaii too.
Really?
Yes.
In Hawaii.
Really?
Yeah, so he did a lot of work.
Yes. Okay, thank you for saying.
Prabhupada told him, he said, you should use your wealth for Krishna.
Yes.
Prabhupada was very bold, he said, like, you got money, you should help Krishna. Prabhupada, he did.
That's what he did, and we see that he's did it genuinely, like that he is not regretting it, that he's happy and he's continuing that. However, we all come from different places, let's say, and there were also cases when the disciples I heard that Madan Mahan Prabhu once mentioned, like Niranjan Maharaj, he did have also situation when a disciple would sell an apartment, gave the money, like like being with this enthused with this first honeymoon time with Krishna, like gave money to Niranjan Maharaj. He just took it, and he knew that now it's like the freshness of the, that it's not yet very profound, Shraddha. And so he just kept it, and then the day came when the person would come back, and say, actually, Maharaj, I'm sorry, I need I need the money now. Some kind of circumstances in life came up, and I really need the money. But Niranjan Maharaj was like he was putting them, and he was giving them back because he could predict with experience that he has and vision, spiritual one. He can predict that someone is more mature, let's say, like Ambarish Maharaj, and someone is less. And so for people who are less, who are coming a little bit with different conditioning, let's say, they might need this five, this injunction when it says how you divide However, Srila Prabhupada does write in the Nectar of Instruction of, on the purport, right? Because it was written by Srila Rupa Goswami. So he does write that indeed we could try to take example and we give half to ISKCON of the profit. And so here we see that Srila Prabhupada is, of course, knowing the greatest eternal benefit of donation to the movement of Lord Chaitanya. He inspires us to give half, not here is 1/5 for religion, yeah, it's written for the Shastras, for normally, but he inspires to give really half, and he brings the example of Rupa Goswami, who used to be in the government, in the Muslim government. What was his name of Rupa Goswami before he became Rupa Goswami? Such a shame. Mani?
Dabir Khas.
Sorry?
Dabir Khas.
Dabir Khas.
Khan. Khas.
I looked it up.
Okay, thank you. We have a proofreader of Back to Godhead magazine here. Krishna Kripa Prabhu has proofreaded so many literatures, so he has the skill of verifying authenticity. And so he did have some family, right? I imagine. And at the moment when he left everything and he went to meet Lord Chaitanya.
Dabir Khas.
Dabir Khas. So you see.
The Rupa was Dabir Khas and Sanatan was Sakar Malik.
Sakar Malik.
Before.
Okay.
Sorry?
Thank you for that.
I'm sure you probably got the.
Okay.
But you're faster than me.
I just Googled. I just typed Rupa previous day.
That's beautiful.
So we have 01. Krishna Kripa Prabhu is leading. Sorry? Okay. Yeah, you have very good accent, Australian. I hope you will understand what I say. But anyway, it's all auspicious because it's a Kaddish and we haven't cut half. So, and I would invite you in 5 minutes to also share your realizations about that from personal life. But maybe because what I found also interesting, the previous verse was stating that charity, sacrifice, austerity, and fruitive activities are possible for the one who is competent to earn his livelihood. And so they are not possible for one who cannot maintain himself. In other words, if you are yourself not possible to maintain and poverty-stricken, let's say, it's very difficult for you naturally to give charity. You need yourself. Austerity and sacrifice, however, I'm surprised because I thought that this is something that we are able to do if we don't have livelihood. Maybe it means that in a sense, we cannot go and sit in the forest for the austerity because we have to find job and duty fully to maintain our family. Maybe that's what they mean, in order to protect some kind of let's say not very people who would like, for example, they already engaged in having a family, but then they say, okay, I'm poor, so I will rather go away and do austerities and leave the family behind. Maybe it's in order to protect, because generally Krishna gives laws in order to maintain all living entities. It's like an ecosystem. We cannot really we are indebted to so many living entities, to our parents, to our Prajapatis, to demigods, to our teachers, to so many entities where we are indebted, and we are not liberated to a certain point, so we have to perform the duty. However, Srila Prabhupada does, once again, inspire to give a 50% or as much as it's possible to the movement, because the benefit of Hare Krishna, benefit of giving the Lakshmi to the spiritually realized people is like big, meaning that if you give charity to someone who is normal, you will receive, it will come back, as the law of karma suggests, it will come back in the same amount normally, if it's you give to some ordinary person. But if you give to a brahmana or to the spiritually, maybe not brahmana, but spiritually realized, to Vaishnava, if you give to Vaishnava, then the return is 100 more. I don't know how many. It's not even calculatable how much more the return will be. However, it might not be in a money form, even though sometimes it's not restricted to it. Like it can be in a money form, but usually it comes back with interest. Let's say so. Because you give Lakshmi to Narayana, and that's the point. And yourself, we are purifying, and we are investing in our spiritual well-being and spiritual bodies. So and here Srila Prabhupada is saying one main purpose should be to advance in Krishna consciousness. This will include also karma, artha and kama. So instead of just going gradually, like usually Shastras suggest, dharma, artha and kama, he says just do the movement of Lord Chaitanya and you will have everything inside. It's like an ocean will have the rivers inside. Like $100 bill will have $10 inside, you know. So if you just participate to the movement of Lord Chaitanya, all the dharma, artha and kama will be covered. It will not be maybe covered as you think, or as you imagine. Maybe it will be faster. Maybe you will not have like a long time to live in the Adenic planets, but that's ultimately you will not even need it anymore, because you will have taste of ananda, of some bliss that is beyond even karma that is offered in material sense by Vedic injunctions. So yeah, and so he concludes that family members do expect some profit, so not to bother anyone. Once again, Krishna takes care of everyone. He's not like sect, because sometimes people, when they feel, why they call sometimes a sect, when they feel bereft of something, when they are miserable or unhappy, you know, usually at this moment they have, you know, when we don't do our duty towards them in some way, certain things we cannot compromise. We cannot go and just like start buying if the family members are fallen and you know, from the West, especially if they drink or things like this. Obviously, we cannot agree with them and sponsor their sinful activities. But certain things, like still devotees are capable to do, like certain maintenance if required, and if, for example, we have already mother who is alone remaining, we have to take care of them and provide the basic needs. We do not have to indulge into sponsoring the for sinful activities. However, we still can somehow cover their basic needs in a compromised way, but it takes some kind of experience and spiritual strength, empowerment as well. And my spiritual master, he has been always in Grihastha ashram, like now we could say Vanaprastha, because ever since he joined, they lived as Vanaprasthas with his they had to raise a daughter, but they didn't have any more biological children, and they were preaching. He was given to preach like all his life. He was preaching, and wife was helping. And he didn't have a job because they fired him because he was Hare Krishna. And back then in Soviet Union you could not be possibly Hare Krishna, and it would not be okay. You would go to prison, or it would be a problem. And so ever since then he started traveling and preaching. And his mother at certain point was concerned, like any mother who has a son, you know, and the son has family. Imagine now any mother would be asking, "What, you don't work? How do you live? You know, how do you get to eat? Where is the clothes come from? What is about your pension after you know? Who will take care of you? Because the government won't give you anything if you don't, you know, have a certain." But it's amazing because once again, it's not to be imitated, but in his case, because of his pure dedication to the mission, he was explaining, but Mama, somehow they gave, you see this sweater, it is a gift, it's a donation. And then she said, okay, but still I don't understand. It was hard for her to understand. And then as he was visiting her, there was a neighbor who knocked on the door, and the mother opened, and the neighbor gave some vegetables. She brought some vegetables. And she said, "Oh, I've heard your son came around, and so I wanted to give something, you know." And mother was okay. And so she came back to the kitchen and speaks to her son, and asked, so she said, "You were saying, how do you live?" And so my spiritual master asked mother, she said, "Mother, so does your neighbor come often to bring you vegetables?" She says, "Actually never." And she said, "So like this I'm living," he said, you know, because Krishna is providing. And after that she was a little bit more pacified. And right now, I guess there is no problem with pension. So many disciples are so grateful to my spiritual master. They are building the ashram in Kazakhstan in order to receive some kind of for preaching. Everything is for preaching. The thing is that he never needed for him, and his wife was super supportive. It was like she has one-year-old girl, and he was called to come to Armenia because there was an earthquake, very strong earthquake. People were buried alive sometimes. So he was asked by devotees to come cook food for life, you know, let's give prasadam to just help in this situation. He said, okay, I'm going. They had one-way ticket for him for that moment. He came home, he said, I'm going to Armenia, you know. She said, for how long? He said, I don't know, maybe a month, maybe two. Now she has really 1 year old in her hands, and she already like infant, yeah, their daughter, and she's like already in the corridor, like in the front door almost. And she said, you know, and she's like very politely saying, you know, we don't have any money. Maybe you have something with. Something with you, like money. He said, I'm sorry, I don't have. Krishna will take care of you. And he left in the door. Okay. Later on, after 1 month, or I don't know how long, maybe about 1 month, he came back and he asked, so how was it? She said, Krishna took care. Because back then devotees were very little and they were like a family, you know. And it's true that in the former Soviet Union, it was not such a big problem like now. Like you could live even with no money because people were communists. Communists were trained to be against money, against capitalism. It was ideology that was training them like to be not even for devotees from the former Soviet Union. It was difficult for some time to understand that money can be used, you know. It's not a problem where you're from, but it has to be used for the Lord. But back then they were not, they were treating money with despise even. There's such a background because of the regime, because of the ideology. But yeah, it was easy for them. No one was greedy and devotees were small and they helped each other. So yes, everything is okay. Krishna does take care even about living insects. So, but we need to do the duty, and in order to understand whether to take job or not, if you are grihastha, this has to be spoken with preferably someone senior to you, spiritual master, perfect. But if not possible, then someone who is experienced, because yeah, indeed, if you are grihastha, you have to maintain. And even my spiritual master at a certain point thought, okay, I'm not sannyasi, what am I doing? I will try to get a job. But every time he thought like that, there will be some person coming to his class, public class, public preaching, some person whom he never saw before or after. Twice it happened, and they would come and say, "Oh, nice class, thank you. Can you promise something?" And he said, "Sorry, you have to say, what should I promise?" He said, "No, first you promise, and then I say what I want." I say, "Okay, what do you want? Please don't stop preaching." So it was like this a few times, and he said, "Okay, I will continue." But once again, it's was like Ambarish Maharaj, it's not a general case. Each case should be treated accordingly, yeah, tailored with the concrete situation, and only someone who is superior to us, can see our conditionment, more or less, if not for us it's blurry and not clear, and then to give us a good advice, like Niranjana Maharaj did with the disciple when he just stored and kept the money that in let's say enthusiasm she gave. Like that. That's what I thought of. I mean, that's what came to me when we read the verse. If you have something, I would be happy to hear you. Maybe Rohit, we can on camera, or we don't have little mics. No? So it means that either I have to repeat or we really bring close to the person. That's it.
Reminds me about, it was like one Leela with Lord Chaitanya's time. He had a disciple, Vasudev Jas, who was so enthusiastic to give in charity that his family was struggling, and then so Lord Chaitanya assigned Shivananda Sain to help him manage his finances. That was interesting. He was wanting to give everything away, but Lord Chaitanya assigned someone to make sure he didn't give everything away, so he could take care of his genuine expenses. You were talking about how if you give back to a highly qualified Vaishnava, you get money back many, many times. So one time I was on the Polish festival tour, and Kavi Chandra Swami came to visit, and Indraduma Swami decided we'll have a Guru Puja for him, so we had this Guru Puja for Kavi Chandra Swami, and everyone was giving him donations, maybe 10 zlotys or 5 zlotys or 20 zlotys. And I'm a very poor vomitor, so I gave him $1, whereas all these Eastern European people were giving him a lot more.
Yeah.
And then when he left Poland, he gave me all his Polish money, which was like $70 worth of Polish money. So I thought, well, I gave him $1 and I got $70 back. This verse is really true,
Oh, thank you. This is a wonderful contribution of personal experience. This is the best, because I've heard from my spiritual master the same, that every time he gave to someone exalted, it came back very quickly. He said,
Wow.
I don't know. I have a bright experience because, we are never given last dollar like you, but yeah, maybe you have given, I don't know, remembering something that you would give.
Right now, no.
Okay.
But I wanted to comment on one point I heard Parishishika Prabhu recently saying about the importance of pausing to deal with an emotion, when you are facing an important decision, or when there is like an emotion, especially anger coming after you heard something, or when you have to make a decision, to just take this time to pause, not to decide on the spot, to take good decisions. And he was giving the example of, let's imagine you receive an email, and in this email you feel some anger coming because of the words that were employed. And definitely it's not the right moment to take a decision, neither to reply, neither to phone the person. Just take a pause, calm down, and then you can come back to your senses and make a proper one. And he was saying that there are two curves. The curves of reasoning is in this way, and the curve of being emotional in another way. So if you are too emotional, you cannot properly reason. They are kind of two opposite curves. So he was mentioning this, and I found it
Relevant for the
quite
nations.
relevant regarding the situation in Sukracharya
Ah,
and Bali Maharaj.
Shukracharya,
Yeah.
okay.
And because you mentioned also like about taking good decision at some point of your class, yeah, you were sharing this. Because quite often, yeah, because of attachments, we are scared of our losing a possession, and you know, because this is arising, we lose the reason, the proper reason. So it's good to have a second thought of this idea or of this situation to take proper decision. Good charity is also in good time, place, circumstances.
Yes, I
It's
remember.
mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, no?
Yes, I remember giving some charity in a bad place, in a bad circumstances. And it was a really bright experience. I don't know if it came back, but... Krishna Kriya Prabhu, you mentioned Vasudata? No. Who was, whom Lord Chaitanya? Vasudev. Okay. And whom Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appointed to Shivananda Sena. But at the same time, wasn't it, or was it Srinivas then? At the same time, it differs.
Yeah, that's a good story.
Because the Srinivas was, he didn't have much also. He had a family, big family, but not a job. And Lord Chaitanya was asking, but Srinivas, how do you maintain a family? How do you eat? And he said, you know, I have a rule of fasting, like if there is nothing, but I would fast 3 days, something like 3 it was. And if one day there is nothing, then second day there is nothing, everybody's fasting. Then on the third he says, I would go and drown myself in Ganges. A little bit of a transcendental, please no, transcendental chantage or blackmailing, yeah. So basically but why it's so different situation when in one case Lord Chaitanya asked someone to take care of someone's finances, in another case he said, great Srinivas, you know, I'm sure that Lakshmi will never leave your house, you know, like this, because it's maybe also different level of Shraddha or like once again, it's not to be one formula for everyone. We should not imitate. If someone is capable to give everything and not to regret it, it's a certain level of faith, I think. Or someone is so surrendered, it's true. Like my spiritual master, it means if you try to imitate it and avoid your duties, you will end up with having some difficult lesson, you know, some purificatory lesson. That there is no need to jump from the cliff and say, Krishna, if you exist, you save me. You know, this is also not a sign of mature Shraddha. Okay, thank you for bringing these examples. I do not know, let's see, good name from Vaishnava Prabhu. Would you like to say something, to comment?
No.
To add?
You talk about everything.
Yeah, I talk a lot. That's the problem. Okay. Rohit, no questions today?
37. 36.
36 questions?
No, 36 sloka.
Ah, okay. Good. Sometimes you say, I have 2 questions, and now you said 36, I didn't understand. Because it's time already to finish. Okay, 36 sloka, yes.
Yeah, like one who can't do charity means what position we can understand, because there is no purport written about regarding this. I mean, more, can you explain, like, because we generally donate in the temple, like, can you explain even that was rich is not.
But here it said what? Learned scholars do not praise, because learned people, like scholars, they do not praise the charity which endangers one's own like livelihood, you know? So for example, if you like earning, I don't know, that much, and if you give the charity, you will stay with no basic covered needs, like you will not cover your basic needs. The learned persons, they say it's not good. You have to make sure that your livelihood is settled. It said that there are not, that given charity, sacrifice, austerity and fruitive activities are not possible for one who cannot maintain himself. So if you cannot maintain yourself, like once you finish studies, you will work. But imagine you don't have work, you know? So how can you give charity if you don't have work? It means you will, what? You will borrow from the bank to give charity? How will you?
That is wrong.
Yeah, that's not good. That's what Shastras say, you know? Because you will not enter the debt just to give charity, right? Prabhu? You want to add to help Rohit?
No, I think it's true. You give according to your ability, you know. You can give, you know, just as I said, you have to give donation marriage to do some service, you know, like especially for Buddha, you know.
Yeah.
You can give money, you give, but if you, for example, in a situation you don't have, then you can do some service, you can service well.
Yeah. So you have to not be too fanatical. At the same time, Srila Prabhupada encourages, because this is all our stage with everything, you know. You cannot immediately jump over your head and, you know, and imitate Bali Maharaj, you know. He's in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's an exalted personality. Once again, we have examples in our own movement, but they either spiritual masters or senior devotees, like very elevated, you know, we cannot imitate. Therefore, we will try to give whatever we can, according to our means, according to our earnings, you see. Once you become millionaire, you can help Shri Radha-Parisisvara temple to move to the Champs-Élysées. We hope, huh? You will not forget us. So we discovered very interesting words about charity, donations today. Shukracharya's words, but also injections. Thank you. Any other question, or was it okay, or?
Yeah.
Or it's more or less.
And then also the fact that Lord Chaitanya engaged even on the train in watching over Vasudev, that's finances indicates that too.
That someone senior.
Everything away that he couldn't maintain his family, that he, you know, got somebody to help him. You know?
It's a great example. I did not know this. I only knew with the one that that actually was the opposite. That he said, "Oh, we fast 1 day, 2 days, and 3rd day I'm gonna
That's also a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for giving this spontaneous class without studying. It was very entertaining and full of knowledge.
Thank you, Krishna Kripa Prabhu. If you are happy, I'm so happy. If Vaishnavas are not sleeping totally, it's okay. Because everybody wake up early at the Shri. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, Grantaraj Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.